I may invite Tim Reid next to deliver his piece to camera, and then we will go into the first session with Lawrence Robertson and look forward to accelerating the rest of the programme as quickly as we can until the ministers arrive back from the Foreign Office at the moment, where they're meeting with the Foreign Secretary and the Under-Secretary of State at the moment. So they'll be back very shortly. Please may I invite Tim Reid to deliver the next address. Tim, oh, sorry. There you
go. Thank you. Mesdames et Messieurs, bonjour, bienvenue au premier sommet commercial pour l'Afrique centrale et de l'Ouest. Je suis honoré d'accueillir nos invités africains et les représentants d'entreprises britanniques. Now, and with apologies, I'm afraid I must carry on in English for everybody's benefit. It's a pleasure to be with you at the West and Central Francophone Africa Trade and Investment Forum's first ever gathering. It may have a long name, but it has a very simple aim: to connect great nations, great investors, and great businesses together. There's a real buzz about this part of the world. Only last month I was in Senegal and Guinea, where I saw for myself the wealth of opportunity. And of course, West Africa's famous warmth and hospitality. I even hear today that our hosts have had to turn people away to cap the number of attendees. That's a pretty unusual feat and great to see, and I think stresses the interest in the topics we're going to talk about today. So this really is the hot topic, the hot ticket for what is a hotspot of opportunity. Before I talk about those opportunities, let me talk a little bit about who I am and what we do at UKEF. So my name is Tim Reid. I'm the head of the business group for UK Export Finance. What that means is that we underwrite and originate all the transactions we do around the world. My background is mainly in banking, but the common focus has been on trade and connecting businesses with opportunities to do business around the world. UKEF is UK's export credit agency. We are the oldest export credit agency in the world. And we have a simple motto, that no viable UK export should fail for lack of finance or insurance. And we achieve that in three ways. Firstly, by lending directly to overseas investors so that they can buy British products. Secondly, by guaranteeing loans so that British investors can operate abroad. And thirdly, by insuring British exporters when they sell their goods internationally. We bring to the table the breadth of our experience, the depth of our contacts book, and the strength of the UK government's balance sheet. And in the last 5 years, we've supported projects overseas to the tune of about £33 billion. Our influence can be seen across the world in the projects we've supported: schools and hospitals, roads and railways. We fill a very important market gap. We only get involved where the private sector can't accommodate the totality of financing. So we're there to support transactions that can't be financed in the commercial market alone. We do charge a premium for the risk we take, and that's very important so that we don't cost our taxpayers money and we're appropriately rewarded for the risk that we take. And we further the UK's ambitions, not just helping exporters, but meeting other government priorities, for example, with respect to climate change. And all of this means that we work with a huge variety of businesses, from the largest multinationals to the smallest suppliers. And it means we operate in the most exciting emerging markets, like these ones. As you may know, the UK is now the largest investor in Africa, a milestone we reached in 2020. We at UKEF are proud to be part of that, having provided £3.2 billion of support for projects in the continent in the last 2 years alone. In this region, the French-speaking countries of West and Central Africa, growth in our support has been exponential. In 2015, our support was only £30,000. Last year, it was £400 million. Indeed, our support unlocked £133 million of UK exports to the Côte d'Ivoire, with UK contracts set to be delivered for years to come. That alone is worth 70% of the UK's total exports to the Côte d'Ivoire last year. So why does this partnership work so well? Because we have support for buyers on the ground, from UKEF representatives to our ambassadors, our high commissioners, and commercial diplomacy teams in the region. Because the opportunities for Britain's diverse and dynamic businesses are huge, from finance to the blue economy, healthcare to agriculture, infrastructure, education, and beyond. What those businesses find, and what we find, is that investing in one Francophone country really is the gateway to the others. They share a common language. Their currencies are all pegged to the euro. UKEF can support in 12 African countries. And because of the opportunity, our risk appetite for these countries across the region has increased in recent years. To truly understand how this all works, to see the impact on people's lives and livelihoods, let's talk about a couple of case studies. Right now, 6 new hospitals are being built across the Côte d'Ivoire, enabled by scores of suppliers exporting materials and services from the UK, and backed by direct lending from UK Export Finance. This is our biggest deal in Francophone Africa yet, worth €241 million. It will provide healthcare for millions of people and jobs for thousands. And today we're announcing how we want to encourage more projects by increasing our market risk appetite in Côte d'Ivoire alone to £3 billion. Then there is the Douala East entrance road in Cameroon, which is currently being expanded from 2 lanes to 6 lanes. This route is crucial to trade, not just for Cameroon, but also to landlocked Chad and the Central African Republic. It forms part of a burgeoning trade relationship between the UK and Cameroon, which has increased by an astonishing 40% in just 12 months, thanks to the recent trade agreement. Today, we've announced that we will add to our growing tally of achievements £68 million of support for a new road in Togo, and the design and construction of 10 buildings in Benin's new administrative capital, Ministerial City. That's happening with over £100 million of UK export finance support. It will use goods and materials worth £35 million, all made in the UK. And the British influence doesn't end there. Ministerial City will be inspired by Whitehall here in London, where departmental buildings create a hub for governmental business. You won't have to worry about traffic because it will all be accessible by foot, though it would be fantastic to see some of our famous big red buses there. In doing all of this, we feel we are part of something bigger. We are part of a burgeoning partnership between the UK and this part of Africa. We see it in the recent ascension to the Commonwealth of Gabon and Togo, in the trade agreements with, among many others, Cote d'Ivoire and Cameroon, in the increasing amount of UK and African businesses crossing borders to trade. That's the buzz I'm talking about. And the truth is, there is scope for much, much more. For the deals I've discussed, trade between the UK and Africa still only accounts for 2.7% of trade overseas, British trade overseas. Meanwhile, Africa's opportunities keep on growing as populations grow, urbanization increases, and the middle classes rise. Africa has abundant natural resources, a fantastic business environment, modern infrastructure, and a sophisticated financial and legal system. All of these things show us that Africa is very much open for business. And we in the UK have solutions to respond to the market needs. We have fintech firms and education startups, healthcare brands and green innovators. Many of them are here in this room today. In our view, the opportunities available in the room today could easily exceed £1 billion. But we don't just measure success in pounds, euros, and francs. We don't just measure it in deals done, memorandums of understanding signed, and bilateral agreements reached. We measure it in connections made, from Conakry to Cardiff, from Porto Novo to Portadown, from Dakar to Dundee, Libreville to Leeds. We are making those connections, cementing those connections here today. So I look forward to hearing from you all today about what we as UKEF can do to support you as you grow your business, and look forward to many opportunities coming from this event. And finally, I'd just like to say I hope you have a great day today. Thank you very much, and bonne journée.